The I am sayings in the Gospel of John are fundamental because Christ gives us some insight into who he truly is, and above all, who we also are, because we only use the word I am about ourselves. It is most peculiar, this word I. So what I will do is I will run through each of the I ams in turn and then make my comments as follows. Now, life, as we know, is in the word, from the word meditation. And so this is very important. But what is also extremely important is the notion of the bread. The bread is the food that we eat, we need in order to live. And this has been taken by some symbolically to mean money. But no, that is not what is meant. It is meant much more literally. Because when on the cross the holy blood joined the earth, since the blood was the vehicle of the I am, of the individual Christ, after all, that is what the whole purpose of the Hebrew Jewish religion was, to produce the sacred blood into which the Christ could incarnate. That blood became part of the planet Earth, and since then that holy blood has been coming out into the grains that are pulled out of the earth by the light, in the form of wheat, in the form of rice, in the form of all the other grains. And very literally, every time we eat a meal, we should be aware that we are in fact taking part in sacramental communion with the reality of Christ, whether we know it or not. The light was within the Word, and it is the light which illuminates the world into which Christ came. I would make the following comments about the light. The light is always above our heads, be it by day the sun, by night the stars or the moon, or even artificial light is always above our heads. It gives us the direction upwards, towards heaven, towards our perfection. It is the direction that we are to follow, and the light is something that we need in order to see and understand everything that is in life around us. And that means absolutely everything that we come across and recognize, everything that is in the world and outside the world is all illuminated by the light. The light also shines from the eyes. The light is what made the eyes, and without light we cannot see. That is darkness. But with too much light we cannot also see, and that is bedazzlement, which is satanic illusion. There is a third way in which we cannot see, and that is when the light does not penetrate, as in fog. I am the door. This is absolutely clear. Nobody gets to God or to any development except through Christ. Since the incarnation of Christ, this is the absolute law. There is no going back. There is no going forward by any other path. The parable of the Good Shepherd is well known, and it is absolutely true. It is vitally important that we can turn to Christ to help us, to pick us up whenever we fail, whenever we fall, because we continue to do so until such a time as through Christ in us we attain perfection. But until that time, we very much need the Good Shepherd to help and defend us against the powers of hell that are ranged against us. Again, the life is obvious that Christ is the life because of the beginning of the prologue of John, but also resurrection gives us huge hope. It means that even when we arrive at the very end of our powers, when we have no longer the strength to even lift a little finger to help ourselves, when we die, Christ resurrects us. And that means that truly we need never fear. On the path of our perfecting, we will always be able to resurrect time and again, and in the future we shall do so until we become what we are meant to be, the summit, the highest point of creation. The life again is connected back to the Word. The truth is what is terribly important, because that is the reality that we face. But the most important thing in this one is the fact that Christ is the way. And when we say the way, it means we go from where we are now with all our imperfections to where we must one day become, the perfected version of ourselves, which is what Christ made us to become. We walk along that path of perfection through Christ and with Christ, for without him we can do nothing. And lastly, the true vine. This is so important. Christ is in us. Christ is in me, Christ is in you, Christ is in all of us. And when we can see the Christ in another, that is what makes us fall in love with each other, and that is the high root of all true love. Our love between us as humans is but a model, a pattern for what our love towards God must be, because God brings together and unites all human hearts. That is the path forward. That is why we are given love, and that is why we have to realize we are on the path towards union of all mankind. And as God goes on in the Gospel of John, the Father will prune back those and reprove those who he loves, so that we can bring forth more fruit. And that is what I hope this is going to do for you. God bless.